Hello everyone, welcome back to MBA Monday. I'm Angela Guido, the founder of Career Protocol, and this week we're talking about how to ace your video essays for Kellogg, Yale, and any other school that springs a spontaneous, not quite an interview, not quite an essay, video essay on you after you submit your application. Before I get into how to ace your video essay, I want to talk about why the video essay entered the picture in the first place. It's a little known fact that it's admissions consultants that forced schools to get into doing video essays. Why, you ask? Well, look, back in the day when I applied to business school, there was no such thing as admissions consultants. Whatever you submitted in your essay was your work, or maybe with the involvement of many friends and family helping you express yourself a little bit more clearly. Then along came admissions consultants that helped MBA applicants do a much better job, in some cases, of presenting themselves to the admissions committee. And along with good actors, we always get the bad actors. And so a handful, maybe more than a handful, of unethical admissions consultants go so far as to actually write your essays for you and or to really make the language and writing perfect, even if you're not an excellent writer or even a native speaker of English. So over the years, what started happening is schools would admit candidates that they thought were amazing and really ready to survive in a native English speaking classroom whose English skills were not up to par. How does that happen, you might ask? Well, imagine there's an unethical consultant writing your essays for you in perfect English, even though you don't speak perfect English. And then you happen to be assigned to an alumni interviewer who also speaks whatever your native language is. And for convenience sake, you just end up having the interview, not in English, but in your native language. And there we have an amazing candidate who's maybe a great candidate for business school, but not quite ready to hang in a fast-paced all English environment. So the number one thing that schools are validating in your video essay is, can you even communicate yourself in English? Can you speak fluent English? Doesn't mean you can't have an accent. Doesn't mean you have to speak native English. You can have as thick of an accent as you want. You can make all kinds of small grammatical mistakes. As long as you are, see there, I just did that. You can make all kinds of small grammatical mistakes. As long as you are able to make yourself clearly understood, you're passing the test of the video essays. So first and foremost, the video essays are really a test of your English speaking abilities. That's number one. That already should put you at ease and take a lot of pressure off, because most people who are applying to Kellogg and Yale and other schools that have video essays, your English is like, if it's not native, it's like definitely good enough. So you're already really qualified to do well on these video essays just by virtue of the fact that you've learned how to communicate in English. The second thing that they're testing in the video essay is your personality. So they're trying to understand, what are you like in person? Now, it's not a substitute for the interview, and schools will say this very clearly. If you're admitted to Yale or Kellogg, you will be interviewed. So the video essay is not a substitute for the interview. It's just giving the full admissions committee the chance to see you, sort of live and in person, and importantly, to see how you communicate spontaneously. So this is really a chance for you to let your personality come across in these video essays in a way that an essay on a written, piece of paper could never fully capture. So again, all of this should put you at ease, because the video essays are just there to validate your English speaking skills and then to just kind of see who you are as a person. They're trying to get to know your personality. So first thing you want to do is don't sweat it. Don't sweat these video essays. They're just one part of the puzzle. They likely are not going to be a deal maker or a deal breaker, but given that it's mostly about who you are as a person and how you communicate, I have a few tips for you as to how to prepare so that you're prepared to just like show your best self, even when you get a curveball question that you're not expecting. In terms of the content of the questions, Yale this year is being a little bit more cloak and dagger. They're not giving you any insight into what the questions are. In years past, they've been everything ranging from behavioral questions to questions about active, live, social and political issues to sort of fun, quirky questions like, if you could go back to any point in history, where would you go? They're trying to put you through a range of questions so that they can see how you think and how you communicate at a variety of different levels. Kellogg is actually doing exactly the same thing, but they're being a bit more transparent about the questions that you're going to be asked this year. You're going to have 3 questions for your Kellogg video essays. The first one is, please introduce yourself to the admissions committee. So you're going to have a few seconds to prepare, then the camera will start filming, you will have 60 seconds to give your answer, and then the camera will shut off. So you wanna make sure that you're ready to answer that question within 60 seconds, and so don't plan an answer that's 90 seconds because it will just get cut off. So in this first question, it says, consider this your opportunity to share what you would want your future Kellogg classmates and our admissions committee to know about you, what makes you you. I'm not even gonna give you a lot of advice on this content because you should really just trust yourself. Keep it simple, say just a few things. In 60 seconds, you can't say a lot of things. My best advice is not to memorize a script. Do not write it out fully, neither by hand nor typing. Instead, plan 3 or 4 bullet points that you want to get across in that amount of time, the 3 or 4 most important things that you want to convey. Practice with that bulleted list spontaneously a few times, possibly chatting with a friend on Zoom or on Skype, and then just be ready to improvise based on your rough outline in terms of whatever it is that you want to say about yourself to the admissions committee and your future classmates. So don't overthink it. Just keep it simple, talk about yourself, and improvise. Second question, what path are you interested in pursuing and how will you get there and why is this program right for you? So interestingly, Kellogg is putting their personal statement into a 60-second video essay format. This is really the only place in the application where they directly ask you, why Kellogg? How are you gonna use Kellogg to get ahead? Why is Kellogg the right fit for you? This is the only place where they ask that point blank. So this question is really, really important and you really wanna prepare for this one. 60 seconds is not a long time. So again, you're gonna be able to cover at most 3 or 4 bullet points. So do a little bit of research, come up with an answer that feels compelling and inspiring to you, include a discussion of your goals and why you're passionate about that. And then the rest is gonna be about Kellogg. And so again, like have a thoughtful answer here, go beyond the basics, but don't memorize it. Improvise it, have bullet points, practice, etc. I'm gonna be a broken record on that one because so many people ignore this advice. They try to memorize it, and when you memorize something, you come across not as you. You come across as just a little bit stilted, a little bit robotic, and neither of those looks are a good look for Kellogg. Kellogg is a really warm, vivacious, on average, extroverted community style. It's a student-led community. So all of the student groups, a lot of the career services even is led by your peers. It's a group of people who love to be together, who love to collaborate. It's like a team spirit kind of place. Robots, stilted, awkwardness, not a good fit. So don't memorize. Again, just be yourself on camera, improvising your well thought out answer to number 2. And then question number 3 is going to be a question about a challenge you've faced. This is almost certainly going to take the form of a behavioral question. Tell us about a time you overcame a challenge. Tell us about a time you faced a conflict in a team. Tell us about a time you got a negative piece of feedback and how you recovered. So you're gonna see this when we get into interview week, that behavioral questions are huge in many MBA application interviews. And on average, to really do justice to a behavioral question, you need at least 2 minutes. Kellogg is only giving you 60 seconds here. So this is a question that in our experience is the hardest one for our clients to answer because they have to kind of cram quite a bit into a very small space. So to prepare for this question, because you don't know how they're gonna phrase it, it's really important that you not plan a specific answer, because if the framing of the question is different, you will be totally thrown off. You will have to quickly reframe the answer while you're talking, or you'll give an answer that doesn't fit the question, which again, reflects really badly on your communication skills. So think through 2 or 3 or 4 challenges that you faced in your career, and then think about a couple of bullet points as it relates to each of those challenges. Those bullet points are, what was the situation? You guys know the STAR framework. What was the task in front of you? How did you overcome it? And then what was the happy ending? So just think through that. And then for each of your challenges, make sure that you've got those details vividly in your mind, and then improvise a few times to make sure that you're able to kind of tell the story within 60 seconds, and then really show up for the video essay ready to improvise, because again, you don't know exactly how that question is going to be framed. And a lot of what Kellogg really wants to see is how you're able to communicate when you're not fully prepared. That's going to give them a sense of your personality. So have fun with it. Smile, enjoy the answer. The last thing you want to do is come across as a deer in headlights. That's not going to help you for Kellogg. It's not a good look for Kellogg. Yeah, have fun with the answers. One of the best things that you can do to prepare yourself for these video essays is to make sure that you look good on that webcam. And in the era of Zoom calls dominating our lives, I'm sure I don't have to tell you that not a lot of people know how to look good on Zoom. This is actually really important that you frame your camera and set up your lighting in such a way that really makes you look like yourself. So here's tip number 1. For most of you, your laptop is gonna be, the camera on the laptop is gonna be well below eye level, which is not just unflattering, it makes you looking down on the camera, which doesn't feel good to the person watching it. So you wanna prop your laptop up on some books so that I need more books, this isn't quite high enough. You wanna make sure that the camera is kind of right at eye level or just slightly above, slightly below eye level. And then you wanna make sure that you're framed in the shot where you're taking up most of the screen and your eyes are at roughly the 75% mark. Here are some shots from famous movies you know and love. It's not a coincidence that those shots are all framed the same way. That actually creates the best experience for the audience. And the admissions committee is your audience. You want to create a great experience for them. So put the camera in a good spot, frame yourself well in the shot, and then make sure to set up your lighting so that you can be seen very clearly. For most people, that means you're going to want a slightly indirect source of light. Here for MBA Monday, we have the light right over there. It's coming diagonally at me. It's not head on. It's not directly from the side, making me look sort of all shadowy, like a freak show. And it's really important to make sure that you're well lit enough, because not a good look in the dark. You just don't look as great when you're not well lit, right? Okay, and then last thing is dress in a way that represents you. Business casual, of course, is the way to go for most people, but if you're like me and you have a little bit of flair in the way you present yourself, feel free to do that. Wear a colorful shirt, wear a fancy tie. You could even wear a Kellogg sweatshirt or a Yale sweatshirt if you really want to go that far. But express yourself in every aspect of how you present yourself in those video essays, in the content of what you say, in the way you improvise and be yourself on camera, and in the way you set up the shots. And you'll be doing the best that you can do to help yourself with these schools. We're putting in the discussion a couple more links to what the schools themselves are saying about their own video essays, so that you can really rest at ease and know that this is not a test, it is not an interview, it's just a chance for you to show them who you are and how you communicate, so that they have a more complete picture of you as an MBA candidate. Have fun, good luck, and don't forget to come back next week for MBA Interview Week. We've got one video every single day helping you get ready for your MBA interviews, which I know if you've been following our channel, you are definitely going to need. See you next time. I'm gonna have you turn off the light and I'll talk with the light off. and then we'll see